There's two things to me are the most important things in my life that I value. That is my individual consciousness and my health. Consciousness determines how you experience your life in any given moment. The moment your health is starting to be taken away from you, it really starts to highlight and make you contemplate life. If you have a Dunedin pay score of 1, that means for every year you age chronologically, then your biological age is aging the equivalent of 1 year as well. The psychological moment, when I've had those results come in, I thought, geez, I'm going to look at these. What's it going to be? Guy here. Welcome to my Let It In podcast. I'm doing something a little bit different today, a little solo podcast. Now, if you're new to my channel, amazing. I've got nearly 400 episodes of podcast. I've been podcasting since 2018. I've been getting guests on every week from all walks of life, from different aspects of spirituality and science and how they merge together. You name it, I've covered it on this show. And I do that to complement the work I do within our retreats and our events with Live in Flow. And many of you would know, if you follow my channel, I used to work in the health and fitness industry. I had my own supplement company, and through my own spiritual awakenings and practices, I've moved into what I do today with Live in Flow. Anyway, I digress. This solo podcast is to give you an update. Around about a year ago, can you believe it? I was going to do a test around my DNA reporting, my aging and biological aging, because I wanted to see the effects on my health and impact. Now, you might go, well, why are you talking about health, Guy? This channel is about spirituality, and I get it. When I release a YouTube video around with Greg Braden or somebody talking about AI Atlas at the moment, I get 100,000 views. And then if I speak about health or healing, hardly anyone clicks on it. It's fascinating to observe, actually. But there's two things I want to lay out for you. To me, the most important things in my life that I value extremely well personally, outside, of course, is my family. That is my individual consciousness and my health. And I feel, my belief is that we should be doing everything to protect them as much as possible. So let's just look at consciousness for a minute. I made a couple of notes here. Consciousness determines how you experience your life in any given moment. I have learned once, many years ago, somebody said to me, I said, what do you think true success is? And how do you get there? And he said, well, health is definitely one of them. But if you want to get there, turn your TV around. I'll never forget that. I was about 30 years old, and make it face the wall. And when I moved to Australia, we had a TV in the house when I was renting an apartment with a couple of my mates. And I turned the TV around and it faced the wall. And it did that for 10 years. And one thing I did do was detox myself from society in some ways. And that was definitely what information is coming in and feeding my consciousness. Because whether you like it or not, it is going in subliminally. And our subconscious programming is extremely powerful. And if we get subliminal messages day in, day out about the state of the world, about this is how we should be doing, all these imagery messages as well are coming in. It is going in, seeping in somewhere. And when you start to remove all that, you start to find yourself again, and you find the identity of your true self. So long story short, I protect my consciousness and I gatekeep everything extremely well now. And I'm very conscious of what I'm letting into my sphere and into my world, especially information as well, because it's everywhere, right? Technology is everywhere. I use it. I love it. I listen to podcasts. I have a podcast, don't get me wrong, but ultimately at the end of the day, we have to be very mindful now and protect the sovereignness of ourselves. Is that a word? Anyway, I'm just winging this, by the way, you might have noticed. So the other thing is our health, because with our health, that is then feeding into how we directly experience every moment and the quality of our consciousness that it can be housed in. Because at the end of the day, I've seen people in pain, I've seen people with chronic disease, I've worked with people through these facets, and the moment your health is starting to be taken away from you, it really starts to highlight and make you contemplate life. But the problem is we are so distracted, we're so busy in our lives, we're totally getting on with it. We have lots of subconscious behaviors and patterns and habits that are then not actually long-term looking after our health, the vehicle, the temple, the house, that we allow ourselves to experience this thing called life. So for me, they really intertwine, because the more we look after ourselves, the more we can then change the state of our feelings and our emotions and our state of being into then how we actually perceive the world. Because ultimately, I really believe it comes down to three things that we can control in our life. And that is our perception, the choices that we make from how we're perceiving it, and then the actions we take from those choices that we are making and how we choose to perceive things. Right? There's a lot in that. But anyway, I'm digressing because I want to set the scene on why, and I'll be sprinkling in probably a few more podcasts around this as I move forward. So what did I end up doing? I had Kashif Khan on my podcast, who's the founder of the DNA company in the States. I just reached out to him. That podcast, if you go back a year, 18 months, and it was pretty powerful about the power of understanding your own DNA from a spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical aspect of it as well. It's data, right? Now, here's the other thing when it comes to data, and I'll share my results and findings in a moment. Now, I've grown two companies to over $1 million, turnover a couple of $1 million annually and stuff like that. And I've always felt my way through stuff. I've never really been data driven, but what having actually a business has taught me is that you got to live in the real world as well. When I looked at a spreadsheet, it just gives me the shivers. It's not my thing at all. But over time and over the last 15 years, I've certainly learned to actually at least have a mindset around understanding data. But the most important thing is not what the data is giving you, it's what you do with it that matters, right? So there is those elements, things, because it's very easy to go, well, do I need to know data? Do I need to know things around my health? For me personally, ultimately, it's nice to see where I'm at to a degree. I don't make it become the holy grail of something. At the end of the day, they're just digits on a screen. It's up to me what I do with them and my interpretation of them. But it's nice to know, to see if things that I do in my life are having effects in a positive or a negative way over the long term stuff. Health, spirituality, they are processes, right? There's no fast track to them. There's no getting there quicker. They are things that we start to integrate and alchemize over a daily basis. And over time, the results start to show up, just like you would harvesting in a season, right? There's no fast track. Sorry to say. Anyway, so I had 3 tests after being inspired by Kashif Khan. I did the Dunedin test, Dunedin Pace Score, which I'll explain in a sec, the Symphony Age, and my DNA. The DNA gives me a blueprint, what things affect me in my life, from foods to exercise to sleeping patterns to toxins, you name it. It's extremely detailed. It comes very clearly interpreted, but then, you're probably going to want to see a naturopath or practitioner to help you interpret those results. I'm married to a naturopath, Linda Gripperich, so I'm very fortunate to have her by my side as well. Which, by the way, if you're wanting to look at gut health, I'll give my wife a shout out. She specializes in gut health, and she's opening up a practice back in 2026 as well, so you can check her out. I'll put some links in below. But anyway, rewinding all this back, I thought I was going to make this just a 10-minute podcast, but clearly I'm waffling on. But if you're enjoying this, fantastic. So with the DNA testing, let's push that to one side. Let's go into the age. So basically, you've got your chronicle age. So I've just turned 51 years old, okay? And then you've got your biological age. And then there's another test of your pace of aging, which is fascinating. From what I understand, I've only put this through ChatGPT. I'm having a specialist come back on from the DNA company in about 3 weeks, I think. So it'll be out next year to help me break down and understand it. So if people are interested in this, they can start doing their own testing as well. But just full transparency, I am affiliated with them now. I will get a small commission. You'll be supporting me on the podcast if you choose to use this link from it, which is always appreciated. And also there's a discount code there for you as well to support you and for people, listeners of the podcast. I only support things I believe in. I'm not really there. If you've been listening to my podcast for a long while, it's very rare that I'm doing this, but why not? So rewind it back. So then you've got the Symphony Age and the Dunedin Pace Score. One of the Symphony Age, I believe, was the saliva one. I hope I'm not getting mixed this up. It's a very simple test and you send it off. Takes about 6 weeks. And then the Dunedin Pace Score, the pace of aging, which apparently is the gold standard one, because that's what's happening right now of how I'm living as well, is done by blood, a blood test. And how they get these results, I don't know. Anyway, to my surprise, the symphony age came back saying my biological age, not my chronological age, was 50 years old. And I was like, I actually thought it would be a bit better than that. But that's my ego kicking in, right? But on average, that's higher than most of the population anyway. If you look at the health statistics out there, it's not great. But then when I started to dive deeper, it's how I've been living through my childhood. It's how I've set myself up through my teens. It's how I've been living through my 20s. It's how I've been living through my 30s, and how then living through my 40s and now into my 50s. And I can tell you 10 years ago, I wasn't living like I am now. So at 40, and then at 30, I definitely wasn't living like I am now, okay? So I would imagine my body has taken a hammering in many ways as well, and who knows what the underlying damages that have been done. And it's like a slow turning ship, right? So it's almost like, the choices you're making today, your future self is going to be thanking you for. But now with the Dunedin pay score, there's a variation of range, right? So if you have a Dunedin pay score of 1, so what that means, for every year you age chronologically, then your biological age is aging the equivalent of 1 year as well. So you're on par. So that's the average score, right? If it goes above 1, and I can't remember the exact number, it goes up to like 1.3 or 1.3 something. If it goes up, that means you're accelerating, you're actually aging faster than your chronicle age. So these are factors that you want to be wary about, because you're slowly starting to get into the realm of health predictions. Then you're going to face these problems further down the track if you don't start addressing them now, but as human nature, we tend to wait, right? So I was like, that's interesting. And then of course the other way, which apparently the reading goes down to 0.6. So for every 10 years you age chronologically, you'd only age 6 years biologically, which is apparently amazing. So if you get it down to 0.6, that's like gold standard. You're rocking and rolling. So I was nervous, and I got to be honest, the psychological moment when I've had those results come in, and I thought, geez, I'm going to look at these. What's it going to be? I had to pause for a sec. So anyway, my result came back and it was 0.63, which from what I understand is really, really, really good. Okay, I started to try and find out percentages online, how many are starting to get these scores, but it's hard to tell. There is a leaderboard table on there. And if it was on the leaderboard table, it'd probably fall into the top 30 of people around the world who've had the tests. But that's just hearsay. Take that for a grain of salt. So that surprised me. And that's like, wow, yeah, clearly my lifestyle is doing something right now. And I will do another podcast on what I believe is helping me get that pace of aging back right down. But ultimately, the reason why I feel what's really moved the needle for me with this, yes, lifestyle choices, absolutely food, absolutely sleep. There's different like gut health I've actually spent a lot of time on over the years. It's the things that reduce inflammation, the quality of water I drink. I exercise, I weight train. There's all these factors that come into it. But this is just going by my experience. I can't prove this, okay? This is just something, but I actually believe it's the quality of my nervous system that is really moving the needle. And when I say the quality of my nervous system, though, it's because of the traumas and the energetic shifts that I've been able to create through my system and through my body. Now, I believe the biological body is symbiotic from, obviously, you've got the physical components, but there's definitely an energetic component as well. That's what we work with it. And I'm in quite a unique position because I hold space and work with energy every month. So we've held now 30 retreats, 5-day retreats where I'm submersed in this type of work, where we're using sound, we're using breath, we're using meditation, we're using inner child work, we're using regression. Okay, we're using movement, all these things to free up that energy that's stuck emotionally within our body. And I believe also it's ancestral, that it comes back generations. I have felt, and I had a massive shift, I spoke about it on my podcast earlier, briefly before, where in my solar plexus, I felt something come out of me energetically This was in January, and like, holy moly. And that was ancestral. It just felt it. It was there. It wasn't mine. And I was vomiting energy, believe it or not. I holding space for myself while that was coming out. And I think the energetic self is helping to help rewrite the program, and the cells can actually function better as they come online and express themselves in a better way. That's my simpleton way of breaking this down, but it's huge. By being in these retreat spaces, people just think I'm holding space, but my body is going through it constantly going through the chakra systems and clearing the traumas that are coming out of that. Through time, I think it's actually all starting to pay off. So in a nutshell, that's where it's at the moment. So I wanted to share that with you because I did say I would share it with you. So here I am publicly just coming out the woodwork with it all as well. So if you're curious and you're going to get the testing done, this podcast is going out, end of 2025. What an amazing way to set up 2026. If you decide to get the testing done, jump into it. Drop us an email through Live and Flow. Let me know the results you get. Just a couple of caveats with that as well is that we don't have to worship the data. That's my opinion. If these readings came back differently, I'd have been like, okay, then clearly some of the certain beliefs around myself and so forth that I've romanticized in my own mind, I've come to this conclusion, but maybe I need to start looking at it differently. I used to see that in the health industry all the time. The amount of people that told me they were eating healthy, living a good lifestyle, and then the moment we started to break it down on paper, got them to write things down, they were kind of shocked to then actually what the truth is to what the fantasy is in your head. It's like a bit like me when I go and see my accountant, or if I see where my credit card spend's gone. You know, you look at the hard data, you're like, that's not what I've been telling myself at all, you know. But for me, why run away from it? Because at the end of the day, the more knowledge we have, the more we can empower ourselves and the more we can move forward. Like I said, we'll rewind it all the way back to the beginning when we talk about the two most things I value myself, the quality of my mind and my consciousness and my health and my body. They correlate and they are so entwined. I really feel like the more we allow the detoxification of our body from the emotional traumas, the chemical traumas, the things that we put in our bodies, all that stuff, it's actually going to slowly bring us closer to our divine self. It's going to allow ourselves to be more intuitive, more loving, more kind, and in a much better space as well. So hopefully this will inspire you to maybe get on a health kick if you needed one. Of course, if you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to let me know where you are around the world. Continue to connect. And of course, if you come to one of our retreats in the future, I look forward to meeting you and giving you a hug in person and hanging out around the dinner table and having a conversation, because that's what it's all about, right? It's connecting. So like I said, there's links below if you want to get the test done. There's a discount code there. Let me know how you go. I will be getting somebody on in a little bit future if these things interest you. And yeah, if you've watched it to now, thank you. Hope you enjoyed. Much love from me, and I will catch you soon.